Failure of the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act would delay a durable federal market structure for digital assets. The Securities and Exchange Commission and the Commodities Future Trading Commission would continue acting under their existing statutes. That work is already well underway. The SEC has issued commission-level interpretation addressing the status of crypto assets and investment contracts numerous times. The agencies have created a joint harmonization initiative, and the CFTC has expanded pathways for listed spot products, digital collateral, and perpetual derivatives. And the SEC's chairman, Paul Atkins, has outlined exemptions and safe harbors for crypto fundraising. These actions can answer important questions and create compliant pathways for market participants, but they cannot supply the complete spot market regime contemplated by Clarity. The central statutory gap concerns ordinary cash trading in digital assets that are commodities rather than securities. The CFTC can police fraud and manipulation in those markets, but it lacks the comprehensive supervisory authority over spot exchanges, brokers, and dealers that the pending legislation would provide. Now, the House has moved closer towards market structure legislation. The House passed H.R. 3633 in July 2025 by a vote of 294 to 134, including support from 78 Democrats. The legislation would establish a statutory division between digital commodities and digital securities, create registration pathways for intermediaries, and require coordination between the CFTC and the SEC. And the Senate has pursued the framework through separate jurisdictions of its banking and agricultural committees, and in January 2026, the Senate Agricultural Committee advanced the Digital Commodity Intermediaries Act, which would give the CFTC authority over registered digital commodity spot intermediaries and provide a dedicated funding mechanism. In May, the Senate Banking Committee advanced its version of Clarity by 15 to 9. The legislative calendar has since tightened, however. So in August of 2026, most recently, Senate consideration has been deferred until after the August recess. Disputes over stablecoin rewards, banking competition, ethics restrictions, and other consumer protection provisions continue to complicate the path to a floor vote. And any Senate measure must also be reconciled with the House passed text, right? And so the possibility of delay has renewed a practical question for the industry. How much of the proposed framework can the agencies build without new legislation? To answer that question, in March 2026, the SEC issued an interpretive guidance essentially addressing how the federal securities laws apply to crypto assets and crypto transactions. And the interpretation identifies categories including digital commodities, digital collectibles, digital tools, payment stablecoins, and digital securities. It also addresses how non-security crypto assets may be offered as part of an investment contract and how that investment contract may terminate. The CFTC joined the release with guidance that it would administer the Commodity Exchange Act consistently with the SEC's interpretation. And so the agencies characterized the action as a bridge while Congress continues its work towards clarity. And the interpretation is pretty consequential, right? Because it rejects the proposition that every crypto asset is associated with an investment contract and remains a security indefinitely and always. It also gives market participants a more structured way to analyze airdrop, staking, protocol mining, wrapping, and the completion of those managerial promises, right? Does it expire? The classification resolves only part of the problem though. If a token falls outside the securities laws, the conclusion identifies the boundary of SEC authority. It doesn't automatically place the token's cash market under a comprehensive CFTC supervisory regime. So commodity status and CFTC regulation are related concepts, but they're not equivalent. So joint harmonization really needs to continue. The SEC and the CFTC formalized their cooperative approach through that March 2026 memo of understanding, and that agreement created a joint harmonization initiative covering product definitions, clearing and collateral, dually registered platforms, reporting, exams, market surveillance, and also enforcement. That initiative provides an institutional mechanism for reducing duplicative requirements and resolving questions that fall near the statutory boundary, right? And so the agencies can issue joint interpretations concerning security-based swaps, commodity swaps, and products that combine elements of both regimes, and they can coordinate exemptive relief and establish shared expectations for firms subject to overlapping registrations. A sustained harmonization effort may produce much of the operational clarity market participants need in the near term. It may also reduce the jurisdictional competition that characterized prior administrations, and the arrangement remains bounded by the original statutes that Congress enacted. An interagency memo can't transfer authority from one commission to another or create a new category of federally registered spot intermediaries. But Chairman Atkins of the SEC has described a proposed framework known as regulation crypto assets. His public outline includes a time-limited startup exemption, a larger fundraising exemption, and a safe harbor addressing when a crypto asset ceases to be connected to an investment contract. So the SEC's 2026 regulatory agenda places crypto asset offering rules at the proposed rule stage, and the agency can rely on its existing exemptive authorities to tailor registration and disclosure requirements for transactions that remain within the securities laws. It can also address broker-dealer custody, transfer agents, tokenized securities, investment advisor custody, and exchange listing standards. And this work could create a practical pathway for token fundraising. And that's a subject that has remained difficult under conventional securities registration rules. It can also establish a transition point at which a project has completed the managerial efforts that gave rise to the investment contract designation in the first place. But the SEC must still remain within the limits of the securities laws as enacted by Congress and governing precedent. It can't classify a non-security asset as a security solely to ensure that a regulator remains present jurisdictionally. It also can't grant the CFTC affirmative authority over a separate commodity spot market. The CFTC is expanding the uses of its existing authority. So the CFTC's Project Crypto initiative is proceeding on several fronts. First, the agency has directed staff to develop rules for tokenized collateral, clarify the actual delivery exception for leveraged retail commodity transactions, create pathways for perpetual derivatives, which many people have read about and published on, and consider tailored treatment for on-chain software developers. The Commission has already facilitated listed spot crypto products on CFTC-regulated futures exchanges through the Commodity Exchange Act's provisions governing leveraged retail commodity transactions. It has issued no action relief in some cases concerning digital assets used as margin collateral, and has supported true perpetual futures on registered markets. So these steps can bring significant activity into regulated venues with surveillance and customer fund protections and clearing requirements. And they also demonstrate that the CFTC possesses more than just enforcement authority in the areas that Congress already placed within the Act, including derivatives and certain leveraged retail transactions. And the authority doesn't extend, though, to every cash transaction. I think that's really the area that we really need clarity, the Clarity Act to jump in and cover. The Commission can pursue fraud or manipulation affecting commodities markets, although it can't impose a complete exchange registration and all the different things that come with that. So to sum it up, clarity and the Senate Ag proposal address institutional questions that cannot be solved solely through interpretation. The legislation would define digital commodities in statute, authorize the CFTC to register spot exchanges and other intermediaries, and do a lot of different things that you can't just do through interpretation alone, but there are some pathways to maintain and create a bridge until we get there. That's all for now. I'm Braeden Anderson. See ya.